Okay, so today I am here in Belleville, Ontario. I'm at the Riverside Disc Golf Course, and I'm here because there's just a little bit of hype that's been going around at least Ontario disc golf social media. And it's not like a lot, but you've seen it. And the reason for the hype is because there's a new disc, and it's by the Canadian manufacturer, Discape. I'm talking about their brand new driver. This is their first real distance driver. It's an 11 speed. Right now they're saying 11 speed. The rest is up to us to decide, kind of figure out what it is. So part of the goal today is to figure out what disc is this really? As far as like, what's the numbers? 11 speed, is it a 6? Is it a 4 glide? Is it like really understable, like a -3.2 or -3.1, or is it more overstable, like a -1.3 or a 0.4 or something like that? Now, the first thing when I pulled this disc out of the packaging was you can feel a difference in the plastic. I talked to them, and they've said they're calling it ferro, much like this Draconix. However, they're not the same plastic. This one has definitely got a texture to it. The bottom of the flight plate, very smooth. The inside rim, just a little bit of texture. You get to the top of the flight plate, there's a little bit more texture. It's definitely textured. And then the wing itself, both upper and bottom wing, are very textured. Now, the texture is not quite as much texture as this 3D printed disc from Grassland Discs, also Canadian, but it's definitely more textured than a normal ferro. So I've got a feeling when I pulled this out, I have a feeling that it's supposed to be micro bubbles. It looks like it's micro bubbles, and I feel like this is supposed to be more like, say, an Opto Air or a Blizzard plastic or something along those lines. It definitely feels like a Blizzard in that, like, you can feel that texture from the micro bubbles, unlike, say, the Fission plastic where you can't really feel the micro bubbles. They're that small. This one is more of a style bubble. So I'm going to play a Discape only North Loop here at Belleville at Riverside and try out this disc and see what I think of it. Gonna throw a couple discs off the first tee to warm up and compare them against stuff. Gonna start with the Ventus Draconix. All right, now the Ferro Draconix. Let's give you a bit of an idea of what I can do. Now we're gonna pull out this new prototype driver. Definitely a little more stable than the other two. I threw all three with a little bit of hyzer. The other two flipped up. That one did not really flip up. I'm gonna compare this against the Wraith. I feel like the Wraith is probably closest to what they're going for. Kind of the same. Not really any flip up. Just, it felt really similar. Just, you can tell the difference in the plastic. Now I'm only gonna count my throws when I'm playing this round from the prototype. But I'll show you where everything else is. The Wraith is just a few feet behind. Bounce it off the wall. Oh, sit down. The Ferro Draconix, I'd be happy with this any day, but I'm actually really surprised that the Ventus Draconix was as close as it is. Let me sit still. Either way, I'll take apart a start. Hole 2. So usually I try and go straight through this middle gap. Just a little bit of a turn, slightly flippy disc, straight, fade. The other thing I can do is sometimes I'll do a really understable disc, high that way, big anhyzer. I'm gonna try and put it through this right line and trust that I don't have the power to push straight too far. Then I'm gonna fade through that gap. Kind of tripped, but it worked. The Wraith, just for comparison, not as good. Really happy with where this prototype got me. Thought through everything, kind of did what I thought it would do, although I pushed a little straighter than I thought with my power. So I'm gonna take the Dark Might. Just about hit the base of the pin. That's great. I don't know about you, but I'm always happy with anything that puts me in line for a par. Let's go. Hole 3, par 4. Got the Mando on the left. You can just see the orange that's left from it. It's a Mando to the right. Usually I just try and put something straight, usually something like a straight mid-range, like a Buzz, but we're testing the prototype. I really just want to push past those walnut trees there. Anything past there, far is fine, just past. All right, that worked really well. Again, doing 2 discs, so here comes the race. Those 2 discs are very similar. I think that's probably the numbers. So the Wraith pushed a little bit farther back than the prototype did, and it didn't quite go as far to the left. However, we are going that way. So in a lot of ways, the prototype slightly better towards the basket, although not on, I would love where the Wraith was. Once again, this prototype has put me in a perfect spot to just send the dark might. A little bit wide, but that's circle. Come on, it's right there. It's right there. That should have been a birdie. Come on, Jared. It's those things where like you walk up and you know it's not that hard. But my mind is just like, oh, can I make that? So I am using the North Loop on U-Disc. However, I'm using the long tees. So I'm changing my tees from like what they automatically set you to. So if you came here and you're like, oh, the North Loop looks different when I'm looking at it than what Jared does, that's why I'm using the long tees. So I would love to be -1 after 3. Because I should be getting, I feel like, that birdie on hole 3, but I oftentimes don't par hole 2, so I'm okay being even after 3. Hole 4, it's straight to the left. This is technically I don't even need this long of a driver still, but again, with my arm speed, it's gonna be more overstable, so this should be pretty perfect. Oh, had it missed that tree, that was so good. Let's see if I can correct with the Wraith. It's the same tree. Now, one thing is, I know you definitely feel that grip. It's the texture of the plastic, and I think I don't love it. I missed my line with that Ferro Draconics because I was thinking about that, but like the Ferro plastic that Draconics comes in, the standard Ferro, I like that plastic better. 3 drastic differences in how they came through, especially between the prototype and the Wraith. The prototype is here, the Wraith's way over there, hit the same tree. The Ferro Draconics, it went higher and straighter through the trees, didn't end up hitting a tree, so it's got a look. That wasn't great, but that's parable. That's all we look for, pars. Now I'm sure Discape would want me to tell you that their new plastic is amazing in every single way, but that wouldn't be honest for you guys. So I want to be honest. I don't dislike Discape's plastic, but I think that the Ferro plastic, the actual Ferro that the Draconics has come out in, is probably their best plastic. The Ventus and the Ventus Pro, really good for putters especially. Like I really like the Ventus for putting, but the Ferro is what I'm looking for from like a Star plastic. Even though it's the clear like a Champion, it's kind of like a translucent Star, and I really like that. When comparing against the Champion, the feel is actually closer to this G-Star. It's just a little tackier G-Star, and I really like this Ferro plastic. It's really good. This new prototype plastic isn't bad. but you're definitely feeling the texture coming out of your hands, which if you want that, if you're the type of person that really likes the texture and the 3D printed discs from Grasslands or something along those lines, you're probably gonna really like this. I actually prefer either going full texture, full send, like the Grassland discs, or just straight smooth, like their Pharaoh, than this. That's me personally. If you've tried both, let me know in the comments how you feel. Hole 5 is long. Now, this one is a forehand hole. Path and left is all OB. Path is OB everywhere, and then there's a second path that cuts across. Long of that is OB. So you have like this figure 8 where you have the 2 holes that are safe. So this is hole 1, the big hole at the bottom, and then hole 2 is near the basket. Because of that, you need to be on this right side. So I need to go out over the road and left. First time forehanding with this prototype. Oh, that was a really bad forehand. Let's see if I can do better with it. Nope, neither one was good. So the Wraith was a prettier throw, but it was just too low and it hit those bushes and stopped. The prototype, I threw really bad. I kind of like popped my hips the wrong way. I don't know what I was doing. It's up there. We're gonna have to just play from that. Made it just in front of the short tee. So that's good, but I'm gonna have to try another forehand. You can see where the path turns left and the path turns before that post. So that's kind of the other part of the figure 8, the other hole you've got to get your disc into. Oh, sit in the hole. Okay, it's really long. It's safe. That was much better. Also long, but he has a look. So I don't know what a pro would do. For me, this position is definitely a guaranteed bogey. You've got a tree in the way. You've got this tree over here. I'm just gonna pitch up to the base, take my bogey. That's what happens when you don't practice your forehands and work on your forehands enough. But this one wasn't bad from the Wraith. It could have saved the par. So, you know, I have the capability. I just need to execute. Hole 6, it's tucked back in those trees. Forehand is a good play, but you definitely want to keep it left enough before it goes into that bush or actually make it past those bushes. So I'm going to give a little bit of flex again. That is right where I want to be. Without having the arm to actually make it all the way in, that's great. Basket's there. Wraith is here. Prototype's up there. Both of them really happy with the Wraith. I just gave it a little bit more airtime, so it had a little more time to come out. These discs are practically identical. The wing shape is slightly different between the two of them. They're so close to being the same, but there's just a slight bit more curve to the underside of the prototype than to the Wraith. Now the Wraith is slightly beat in, but only slightly, because I had an old DX Wraith that when I found it, someone else had already beat in way back when I was in college. And I really liked it. When I lost it, I got this Champion Wraith thinking, oh, it'll hold a little better, because the DX Wraith ended up becoming way too flippy and became an instant roller. And I was like, this should fly just like the DX Wraith did for a lot longer. Not realizing that the DX Wraith was already beat in, I just ended up beating it past the sweet spot. And so I never got this one to a spot where I beat it in because I got too frustrated with it. This is obviously brand new, not beat in at all. And I think you're seeing that where this is just slightly more overstable. This one I'm getting a little bit more of the flip from, but in the end, they're practically the same. Boulder Bane. Let's take our par. Okay, So prototype is at +1 after 6 holes. This is a great shot, hole 7, because you want something to go straight and turn. Usually I use something really overstable, like either the Hoya or the Turbulence, or even like the MX-1. But we have the Wraith and we have the prototype, so just put something up, let it fade, give it some height. This should be a really good shot for this disc. Wraith, I missed my line. It made it through. It's actually in kind of a better spot in that it's like straight down the hill. We'll see where the prototype is. So prototype hit this branch right here and dropped. Otherwise it probably would have been up level with or just past the Wraith, but the spot's not too bad. Normally I'd either throw my elevation interceptor or my range at this hole, let it drop, hope it to sit. But instead we've got the Glacier Risk because this is a Discape only round. Always happy with the par. Okay, so here's where we skip from hole 7 to hole 15. Much like I was saying about hole 5 being a figure 8, this course is something similar, except it kind of comes together and you keep going the same way around the 8. But you know, doesn't matter. Here, we're going straight up. It fades to the right. I don't think I can make it that far, but we're gonna try. We're gonna, again, forehand and a little bit of flex on it. I wanna get the right side of this post right in front of us, come up towards that second post before fading in towards the basket. So that's kind of the goal. Prototype first. It's 275 feet, which I should be able to make with a forehand, but I don't usually. Okay. Distance would have been really good if I didn't have those trees in the way. So I'm probably gonna get a bogey on this hole too. Wraith. Okay, it didn't come out as much as I thought it would. I gave it a little bit too much forehand flex, but it was good. So the Wraith has a semi-obstructed but kind of still open view of the basket. You can make it up and down, give a little more power, go around. You can make up and down for a par. You can even actually attempt a birdie, but prototype is back behind all these trees. This one's gonna be a little creative. Glacierous. And I think we saved our par. Let's go. Okay, hole 16. This one, par 4. It's kind of long. The OB is those, well, this path, it's actually the inside of the fence. And then at the end, it's that just past those trees, it comes in and you have a little bit of a, you have to skip from one island to the next. It's not quite an island because there is a little peninsula between the path and all the long stuff, but basically think of it as 2 islands. So I'm gonna try and go wide and around with the discs and kind of try and get in towards an open spot past that big tree that still has some leaves on it that are turning yellow. Didn't make it past. Let's see if the Wraith can do better. There it is. Much better. Oh, are you trying to play through? You want to play through? Because I'm filming, so I'm taking a little bit of time. Oh, this one, I hit this tree, but all right, so I'm gonna use the prototype, even though I've been only driving with them. I want to get up just past that last tree, but before that long grass. So it's just low, keep it low. Maybe get a little bit of skip. That's low, but not low enough. But it'll do. Wraith is about 225 feet away from the basket. I'm gonna try forehand with it again, just try in the forehand. Oh, come back, come back, come back. Well, didn't count that one anyways. Now the prototype is about 200 feet. So much shorter. And I think I've got a little bit better look at that forehand. That's better. All right, so prototype left myself quite a bit to be desired as far as placement goes, but I'm within the green, probably edge of C1. Get it up, Jared. Just a little up, and that's a little too far right. All right, well, bogey it is. That's okay. I thought I would be doing a lot worse than +2. So +2 after 9 holes, not actually bad. I thought I'd be doing a little bit worse. My average at this course is a +7. Now that's the whole course. You know, that's we're skipping past 7 holes, but still, if you average that out, my average should be at 3.5. So being at +2, I'm beating my average so far. Hole 17, it's 10 for me. It's another par 4, 544 feet, but it goes off to the right. We've got this kind of like how the Grinch stole Christmas pine tree back there. Want to try and get up past that without hitting. Technically, the road is inbounds here. It's the long trees past the road that we don't want to hit. I should be safe from that. I'm gonna try and go over this short red. I was a little bit short of the how the Grinch stole Christmas tree. You know, the Whoville tree, but that's okay. It's because I keep putting way too much hyzer on that disc. That was a lot flatter. That one made it past. So the distance is actually practically the same, which bodes well for the prototype. But I just needed that prototype. Really, the distance isn't the same. It's just to the basket that it's the same, because the Wraith came a lot straighter, a little bit less fade because I didn't give it quite so much hyzer. And in the end, the prototype is in a worse spot because now I've got this tree to contend with, forcing probably a flex forehand. I'm gonna have to do the forced flex forehand. Pull out my best owned Scoggins, try and give it some flex through this, and then straighten out. Okay, the Wraith had flex, but it was way too low. Good tree. Bad throw. All right. Well, that's not the second shot we want. Now, I haven't been doing a lot of comparison versus the Draconics because I did that at the beginning. Now I've been mostly comparing the Wraith versus the prototype. And the thing is, this hole, it showed that I am releasing this prototype on way more hyzer than the Wraith. I feel like a lot of it's because of the feel. You're noticing it. I've noticed it on every single throw. And again, it's not so much like a 3D printed disc. It's just different. You're feeling that difference in the grip. Oh, Jared. Well, that's gonna be a bogey. Should have used the boulder bane. That's it. Should have used the boulder bane. Glaciers. Another bogey. Hole 18, we've made it. It's the last hole. It's 11 for the North Loop. Forehand hole, there's nothing on the left side. There's no flexes, there's nothing like that. It's just put it out, let it crash the basket. You can see the basket down there, right in the underneath the edge of trees. So, yeah, let's see what I can do with this forehand. Oh! I almost had an ace with that. Oh, that would have been a sweet. That would have been so cool to get an ace. Another ace with another prototype. Wouldn't be the first one. That goes out to Anson Tom, but that's not wide enough and not long enough. Distracted by that potential ace. Now this is a hole I love to empty my bag on, so gonna throw the Draconics as well. And you can see the understability of that Draconics. It actually like came out early. It with a little bit of hyzer, flipped up and went around the trees and went long. And especially, man, that was even more hyzer. That was a little high, so it ended up fading out, his little nose up, but it was more hyzered and still flipped up and got a little bit of turn. Oh man, when I say I almost got the ace, like this was so close to being an ace. That was probably like 9 inches off. Oh, that would have been so cool. The first ace that I had that you could see it go into the basket was with a Discape prototype. When I was doing the video with Ned back in March about their new putters. To have gotten one with another prototype, that would have been, oh man, shaken by that in the best possible way. Okay, so in review, I've done now 11 holes with this prototype. What do I think? One thing is, I wish that it was a more standardized plastic of theirs. It's hard to tell because these two Draconics are the same disc, but in their Ventus plastic versus their Ferro plastic, it's way flippier in Ferro. And right now I messaged them, what are you calling this? And they're like, we're gonna call it Ferro, but it's a different plastic. So I really don't love that for reviewing a disc, for reviewing a prototype that like they're not giving numbers to. Because is this actually a Ferro? In which case it's gonna be more understable, because they don't change the numbers on these two discs. When the Draconics first came out, they said it was like a -3.1. Well, the Ventus, it's not. Probably is a -2.1. Maybe even like a -1.5. Whereas the Ferro, it's closer to a -3.1. And you're really seeing that, like it's probably a -2.5.1, I would say. I don't think they're doing half numbers. I like half numbers. So is this closer to a Ferro? In which case, like if it comes out in a Ventus or a plastic more like that, it's going to be, I think it's probably like right now I'm saying it's like it's like an 11.4 -1.2. But if it comes out in a Ventus and it is closer to a Ferro, is it going to be a 9.402? Or is this plastic not really a Ferro like it feels, and so it's going to be the more stable, and if it comes out in a Ferro it'll be like a 9.4 -2.2. So yeah, I wish that Discape had just used a standardized plastic, and by standardized I mean like one that we have experience with already, to better understand what their baseline is, because this is a new plastic. Second off, I don't love this new plastic. Again, you're feeling it enough that I think about it in my throws. As I'm throwing, I'm thinking, like I feel the disc and you're thinking about the disc. And I think that's almost always a bad thing. You should never be thinking about the disc while you're throwing it. So that's kind of, I don't love that. I really like their Ferro plastic. I think I've said this before in this video. So for me, if it had just been a straight Ferro, it would have been more of a win that way. Now, comparing what we have versus what we know with the prototype versus the Wraith, I think it's pretty safe to say that I think it's like an 11.4 -1.2. I find a little bit more glide with this Wraith, not a lot. And I was actually I threw it better than I thought I would. So that's a plus for me. The shape is really nice. I really like the little bit of convex they have. This rim to me is a little more similar of a destroyer that I have, of some destroyers that I have, than of a Wraith, which is a good thing. It's not bad. It was comfortable. It flew well. It has a lot of the characteristics of a distance driver that you think of and you're looking for. So I think this is a win for Discape in a lot of ways. Now, when I heard that people were testing a new prototype driver, I was really hoping that it was going to be one of the prototypes that I had tried back in March with Ned. I'll link that video just in case you've missed it. But there was a 9.5 -22 that we had that I really, really loved. I think it was their best driver that they had I've tried from them. So very sad about that. Calling you guys out right now, Discape. I want that disc, especially in orange. There was an orange prototype nonetheless, and I was like, man, the right color, the right disc. Give me that disc. As far as being a distance driver, I think it's a win. Looking forward to this one getting approved by the PDGA so we can see a wider release and try and see it in some tournaments and whatnot. But I think, yeah, for me, 11.4, -1.2, probably the numbers I would give it. The shape, the feel is good, everything except the plastic. So, Discape, please. Let's get one of these in the true ferro plastic, and I would love to then try that.